There are few cars in American history that have as much negative press behind them as the Ford Pinto. Unveiled in 1970, the Pinto was Ford's new subcompact economy car that offered Ford's most basic form of transportation in an extremely affordable $1,900 package. It was not particularly good looking, and it wasn't fast either. But that didn't stop a man by the name of Jack Stratton from seeing a diamond in the rough with the Pinto. He knew what he had here was never going to be a barnstorming V8 brawler, but his vision for this performance Pinto took him down a rabbit hole that led to the creation of a car that wasn't just leaps and bounds faster than its stock counterpart, but one that could also routinely beat up on the Datsun 240Z and even the Porsche 914s. Yet so few were made, I can almost guarantee that you have never heard of it. Gentlemen, this is the Ford Pinto Pangra. The creator of the Pangra, Jack Stratton, wasn't your typical car dealer. Working out of Huntington Ford in California, Stratton wasn't just the general sales manager at the dealership. He was a visionary, a tinkerer, and above all else, a performance enthusiast. In an era where American muscle cars were falling victim to rising insurance premiums and stringent emission standards, Stratton was one of the few people who, instead of trying to catch the falling knife of V8 performance, decided to embrace the new, more emissions-friendly platforms as the key to a new era of performance. And being at a Ford dealership, the newly introduced Pinto was the perfect platform to use for it. For most, the Pinto was an uninspired commuter car, built to be cheap and nothing more, but that also made the Pinto light. Like, really light. 2,000 pounds in fact. For an American car, it was a featherweight, and it was actually a couple hundred pounds lighter than the Chevy Vega. With a 94-inch wheelbase, the Pinto was also even shorter than a contemporary Ford Maverick, which meant that while in stock form the Pinto may not have been much of a performer, it had all the makings of a car that could be really tossable in the corners with the right modifications. So much so that Stratton envisioned the Pangra as not just setting the tone for American compacts, but even to usurp some of the imports as well. But let's be honest, to sell a performance car with the stock Pinto design would have been a nearly impossible task. To go head-to-head with true sports cars and to have a chance of being taken seriously, the Pinto needed more than just a low curb weight and good intentions. The first step had to be reimagining its uninspired aesthetics. Stratton enlisted the help of Bob Crow, who was a fiberglass specialist, to develop a radically new front end that would reshape the Pinto's bland look. The Pinto's rather plain front end was totally ditched in favor of an all-new shark nose design. Sleek, aggressive, and more like a C3 Corvette than a stock Pinto. The new front end did the trick. The fiberglass front kit now also gave the Pinto pop-up headlights that were operated by a hand lever, slimmed down fenders, and a much more streamlined and angular profile. The car was now a full 10 inches longer as well in the front. Suddenly, the Pinto didn't look like a grocery getter. It looked cool, especially with the bumpers off. And I have to say, I actually do like the way these Pangras look. The rear end, however, stayed pretty much the same as the stock Pinto, as did the doors and the quarter panels. But looks alone would not be enough to put the Pinto into serious competitor territory. The stock economy car suspension had to be seriously overhauled to give the new Pinto Pangra the bite in the corners that it needed, and the extra grip to put the power down for its special new motor. Stratton then turned his attention to the chassis, where he worked with Coney to develop a handling package that included valved shocks, a 2-inch drop, 7-inch wide magnesium wheels, and revised suspension geometry. These modifications transformed the Pinto into a nimble handler, one that could dart through corners with precision and poise. A period brochure from Huntington Ford claimed that the Pangra would be able to pull .874 Gs on a skid pad before it broke traction. For comparison, the Porsche 914 and Datsun 240Z only pulled about .73 Gs. Like it or not, it was clear that the Pangra's suspension overhauls were enough to give it some pretty serious handling capabilities for the time. With all the groundwork laid, all that was left to do was to inject the Pinto with some serious power. And for that, Stratton had a plan that would push the boundaries of what a compact American car could do. The stock Pinto engine, a modest 2-liter inline-4, was never meant to be a fire-breathing performance unit. In its factory form, it barely crept past 90 horsepower, and that was on a good day. But Stratton didn't want to go the Motion Vega route and stuff a V8 under the hood, as that would totally upset the balance of the Pinto in the turns. With this lightweight platform, the only thing that they could do to get the power that they needed and maintain the car's balance at a small cost to its weight distribution would be through forced induction. In the Pangra's case, that would be a turbocharger. Stratton partnered with the legendary tuner A.K. Miller, a name synonymous with turbocharger innovation in the 70s. Together, they fitted the Pinto's 2-liter single overhead cam 4 with an air research turbocharger that was drawn through a 2-barrel carb, boosting the power output from around 90 horsepower to a remarkable 175 horsepower, nearly doubling the stock figure. And this wasn't just any bolt-on setup, it was a carefully engineered system designed to maximize performance while still maintaining reliability. The turbo was tuned to run at around 10 psi of boost, thanks largely in part to the lowered 7-to-1 compression ratio on the Pinto motor, which now made it a more boost-friendly environment. Water injection was even included to ensure that the engine could handle the increased cylinder pressures without compromising durability. And it also helped in keeping these cars 100% EPA compliant for years. When turbocharged applications like the Yanko Turbo Vegas could not get the EPA's approval for a similar project. And the result of all these modifications done on the Pangra was a 0-60 sprint in just about 7.5 seconds, and it could tear through the quarter mile in the low 15s, which made it faster than the 240Z and the 914. Not bad for a Pinto, right? The Pinto Pangras were on sale from 1972 to 1973 through Huntington Ford with an interesting order process. You could buy a fully built and assembled Pinto Pangra right from the dealership with all the bells and whistles that I outlined above, with Recaro seats and a special dash for right around $5,000. Or if you wanted to assemble your own Pangra at home, there were 3 kits available. The Level 1 kit, which was just the new fiberglass front fascia, that cost $600. You could purchase this unpainted and install it on your own car if you wanted to. The Level 2 kit was the full Pangra Can-Am suspension package that included the lowering springs, pony shocks, and sway bars. This kit was just shy of $1,000 and was sold separately from the Kit 1. And then there was the third kit, also sold separately, which was the powertrain kit. That included the turbocharger, the water injection system, the exhaust manifold, the header pipe, the crossover pipe, and all the mounting hardware. This kit was a whopping $1,691. But if you really wanted, you could add all these different kits together so you could build your own Pangra at home, except the special dashboard was not available for purchase, so you could never clone the official dealer-built cars. The Pangra kits would work for hatchback Pintos as well as the wagons because they only really modified the front of the car. In total, estimates say that during its brief production run, Stratton sold somewhere between 20 to 50-ish complete turnkey Pangra cars, and probably over 100-something versions of the kits to people who wish to do the modifications themselves. Today though, there are very few of these cars left, literally just a handful of them across the kits and the factory ones. So if you happen to stumble on a strange looking Pinto at a car show, take some time to go look at it, because you never know. It could be a Pangra, which meant that it was actually one of the most unlikely yet capable sports cars of the day. Let me know in the comments down below if you ever heard of this car before watching this video. I actually want to know. But otherwise,